All right, welcome back to There Will Be Bourbon. Tonight, I am joined by the bean to my rice, Pedro Turushina. He is the Colombian half of myself. Uh, we've known each other about 6 years now, right? Via the CrossFit,
Mhm.
South Orlando CrossFit, where you are a coach, but also uh, you are the founder and CEO of Eloquent,
Yeah,
and you are not a multimedia company. You do what?
we are a graphic design, printing, and web development company.
All right. So that's what he does. He's also responsible for making pretty much all of the silly ideas that I come up with over the years and putting them to life, like this back here. So if you need something like this is the guy. All right. Where can they find you on social media?
My business is Eloquent Inc. That's the handle. Or my handle is not as fun. It's TURUP. That's it.
That is true. Turopi. All right. So
Yeah.
Pedro Turachina. And before we get into why I have him on, I wanted you to hear his story. Of course, this show is called There Will Be Bourbon. It is fueled by my affinity for the delicious American spirit. It is what guides my interviews with whoever I did bring on here. And tonight I'm keeping it pretty simple, just going with a little Weller, the green label, the special reserve, made by Buffalo Trace, which, as you know by now, is the goat of distilleries, and pretty much everything they do gets unnecessarily, well, not unnecessarily, but unjustly inflated in the secondary market. So if you can find Weller, once upon a time, it was probably $22. Now it's at least double, triple, depending where you're at of that. But hey, that is the bourbon boom we live in. It is not agua ardiente. Is that what you forced me to drink at one point? Is that what you have? And that is what he has. There it is. This stuff, very dangerous. I would
It's not dangerous. Same
eh,
thing as bourbon.
not at all. It is not the same. It has alcohol like bourbon, but it is not the same.
29% alcohol.
How much?
29.
That's not even that bad. So this is
Oh.
where we at on this? This is 90 proof, right? Yeah. So
And,
45.
and this is healthier. Look, sin azúcar, meaning no sugar.
uh, there's no sugar in this sin azúcar as well. That doesn't make sense though, because doesn't alcohol need sugar to create itself? I don't. Whatever.
Not this one. I don't know.
Not that one. That is the only
It,
alcohol that doesn't need sugar. Okay, that's cool. So there you go. And it is from where?
Colombia.
It is from Colombia. So let's start there. What part of Colombia were you born in?
I was born in Cali, Colombia.
And why do Americans know the name Cali?
Uh, the question.
So you
So
are
Cali basically is season 3 of Narcos. That
correct.
is Colombia, but
Okay.
that is not what Cali, Colombia is. That is how Americans or U.S. learn about Cali, Colombia,
That is
right?
fair. And I remember, so it was probably what, 2014, like the first time I really hung out with you. We were in somewhere in downtown Orlando, and you kind of told me this story of where you grew up, where you're born, and how your dad had a business there, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Shoe company.
Shoe company. So tell why what went on, or before we get into that, what was it like growing up for you in Colombia? Because you moved to the States when you were 13, so you obviously remember Colombia, correct?
Yes. Yeah. I was. I mean, at 13, you pretty much know everything about the culture or who I am or the culture I brought into the U.S. is basically Colombian. I'm 100% Colombian. Everything about me is Colombian.
It's true. Can confirm.
Yeah. But we so we were in Cali in the middle of all this craziness. The story of Colombia is out there, and a lot of people know about it. But the city where I'm from, they were having like the second wave of I would say like violence due to drugs.
Mm.
With the Cali Cartel and all of those things, and there was a phone call where my dad kind of freaked out because it was three of us, and he got a phone call from one of the guerrilla back in I think it was 20. When was it? Actually, no, it was 1998. I think it was,
Okay.
and they basically told him that if he doesn't pay enough money, or a monthly fee, or uh, like it's not a
Like
ransom
a,
because
yeah,
yeah,
a
but we
bribe, I guess,
yeah,
essentially.
but an X amount, they knew where we were, all three
Right.
kids. So there's three of us. There's four of us, but three were like little kids, under 14. And so he freaked out, and he's like, all right, it's time to take some action. And we always wanted to live here in the US. My brothers and I always came here for vacation, Disney
Mhm.
World, the typical thing. And we always wanted to learn English and kind of be fluent in English for some reason. I don't know why we were so fixated into doing that, but but every time we're here, we're like, oh, it's so cool, we want to do that. So we're telling our parents, this is the place we want to be. And in the background, he was getting all of those phone calls and all of those things, like kind of like not fun things. He
Yeah.
actually got into a weird scenario where he got kidnapped for half a day into a room full of like in a university, like it's full of people like decision makers, and he freaked out after that. So he's like, all right, it's time to go. And we literally sold everything in about 2 weeks. I remember having everything with prices all around my house. It was like, this is like, X amount of dollars, like get it
Yeah.
out.
Did that
And
cause any did these people know that your dad was doing this? Did that kind of raise any, no, they never noticed?
yeah, it's funny because my parents told us, don't say anything to your school friends
Right.
or any friends.
Yeah.
Don't share this with anyone. It was just like quick. And I remember now, at 33 or whatever, when I reach out to my friends in Colombia, or friends, I never
Yeah.
really connected with them after, Facebook and Instagram and all of this. They were like, what happened to you? You disappeared out of nowhere. You're not here. Like, did you die? Like, what happened to you? And I was like, no, I came to the US and I've been here in the US for, X amount of years. But yeah, it was like very abrupt. Like, we didn't had a chance to say anything to our friends or anything like that.
So was
Just
there
quick.
anything that made your father a target, or was it just because he was a businessman in the community, or yeah?
He was a businessman. His business was all over. It was big enough that it was well known. The
Oh,
shoe
okay.
company in
Makes sense.
Colombia.
Yeah.
It was called American Shoes.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah, funny. uh, and then he was also a teacher, like a faculty member at one of the biggest universities in Cali.
Okay, so he was kind of high
Hmm.
profile, right? Yeah.
Uh-huh. So they knew that they could target him and get, I guess, some sort of money or monthly payments.
Right.
They knew.
So so you're 13. Um, where did you guys move to?
So we started here in Orlando. My aunt, my father's sister, she was already established here in the U.S. Many years. I mean, she grew up.
Yeah.
I almost feel like she moved when she was 16, so she was here like stable. And she's like, "Come here to the U.S." My cousins were here. My aunt, my uncle, all of them. So we had a place to come. And it was in 2001. But
Good
for
timing.
some reason, we were like, no, we don't like it as much. We moved to Spain after 3 months.
You- what month did you move to Spain in 2001?
Uh, Actually, it was 2000, I think.
Yeah, I was gonna say because that would have been the year of the 9/11 attacks, and I was
Yeah,
curious
because I
how.
remember coming back, and it was like
Yeah.
a month or two after, and then 9/11 happened. So I think
Oh
we
wow.
moved back
Yeah.
officially to the US. Maybe it was July. Maybe it was actually before starting school, because I remember my parents
Okay.
saying, like, we're gonna finish this semester in Spain, and then we come back to the US, and then you start fresh your new year,
Yeah.
academic year. So yeah,
That's
and
crazy.
then 9/11 happened.
So what was that like for you, not being a traditional American, but obviously spending time throughout your childhood growing up, coming to the States? What was that like for you and your family? Do you remember it? I mean, I'm sure you remember it, but what was that like for you guys? More so your parents, I would assume they'd probably be a little more scared than the
So
average.
you you gotta think that my dad, high profile, let's say, he was the CEO of this company, well established, and then he was the faculty member of this university. So he, let's say, had it all, professionally, career wise.
Right.
Comes here, and then we're living off of. It was a nice apartment, it was not a nice neighborhood, in Kissimmee, and
Probably know it well. All right.
back in the day in Colombia, it was easier to have a maid, or two. So you get everything done and made for you. But then we come here and then you have to do it all. So my dad was the one who was making our breakfast, trying to learn how to do the kitchen stuff and all of that. We're little, so we're trying to learn also how to do laundry, the beds, and all of that. So that was a big adjustment for my parents. I remember eating burnt eggs. But then for us, it was also an eye opener because we were good in Colombia, but then coming here, we needed to work for it. And I remember going to a convention center with my dad and vacuuming the big conventions, like the big rooms when they were empty, like vacuuming everything and basically working,
Yeah.
at 13. So that's when it really like shifted our minds, and all of five of us, mom, dad, and brothers, were like, okay, we gotta start doing something so we can like grow.
Did you think it was going to be the opposite because you had been coming to, you thought it would be like Colombia or even better, essentially?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
That's
guess a
good though,
lot.
because you learned, I mean, you weren't expected to or expecting it, but you learned, I think, a work ethic at a fairly young age that most Americans don't, let's be honest. So they don't. And it's okay that, but,
No, and don't get me wrong. I mean, I talked to a lot of friends in Colombia that are my age now, and some of them are still at home or not. I guess career wise are not like where they should be at 33.
Yeah.
So I think it's like the same in Colombia, but changing and coming here to the US made us open up our eyes to, a different mindset. Like you gotta get to work to make things happen.
Yeah, and you were drawn to, because as long as I've known you, you've had your business, so you were never really drawn to just let me go get a job somewhere. You always kind of wanted to be your own boss or have your own company. Is that because of your father, or what? Is that just something you fell into?
Yeah, for some reason, since I was little, I remember always wanting to do my own thing. Always,
Yeah.
like one, because my mom back in Colombia, she owned her own store. So she will sell like merchandise and like gifts and things like that for the ladies that worked at my father's company. So it was like a win-win situation because he had like about 70 employees, and then she had the store set up outside. So every lunch break, they will go into her store and then we'll buy a whole bunch of stuff.
Give all the money back, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So it was, so she always had her own business, and actually she also had her own, it was like aesthetics, like body and facials and all of that treatments. So always worked on that, and then my father always had his own business. So we always saw that growing up.
Are you the oldest?
No, I'm the middle.
Because you have like what, 15 brothers? No.
We're four.
4 brothers. Okay. Well, you can't really be in the middle of 4, bro. You know that.
I guess I'm the.
You have to. It has to have a middle. There has to be an odd number.
Right? True. I'm right somewhere.
Are you the second or the third?
I am the third.
Okay, so you're the 3/4 is what you are. Yeah. So okay, so you're not the oldest, but you're not the youngest, and you're not the second youngest. Let's just clear that up for everyone trying to figure this out. So that's good. Okay.
Wait, no, I am the second youngest.
You are the second youngest. Wait,
yeah.
You just said you were the second oldest.
No, I'm the second. I'm the third one.
Bro. So you're the second youngest, not the second oldest. So you have how many older brothers?
2.
Okay. And you have 1 younger brother.
Yeah. So I'm this one.
Yeah. So you're the second youngest.
There you go.
Still not technically the middle because you can't. Right. But I got it. you guys want a cat by chance? Because I got a cat over here that Maddie has, and I'm a,
No, thank you.
I'm not going to threaten the cat because it's going to be recorded, and I don't need this used against me one day when I toss her over the balcony. All right. So, and then, so all your brothers, you guys all work together now.
No, right now there's just my second and myself, just two of us.
Oh, just two of you. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Gotcha.
The
All right.
oldest, he actually stayed back in Colombia because he was going for, he wanted to be a doctor, become a doctor.
Okay.
So he stayed there and he actually made it happen.
Oh, shit.
He did it for, actually, he just got here not a few years ago, maybe like 7 or 8 years ago. But he finished his school and career and everything, and did it for a little while, and then came here and moved to Orlando.
Is he a doctor here?
It's still in the works now. Officially, actually, a few months ago, he got certified. So it's a long process.
Yeah, yeah, no, that's yeah. A lot of American students go overseas to become doctors because it's shorter, it's quicker to get there. A lot of the other countries, they have instruction in English, so I've seen that a lot. But when they try to come back to the States, it's like starting all over. It's crazy.
Yeah, that's what happened with him, because you have to do a whole bunch of tests, and you got to study for them, and it's like going back to school basically.
So he's a doctor. He knows how to be a doctor, but just
can't do it.
Yeah. Can't do it. I appreciate you and all your doctorness, but no, we can't use you. That's crazy.
But remember that one time we were at the gym, and I think you were there, and I was doing I think it was a clean and jerk, really heavy clean and jerk at 135.
That's like how much you weigh though, so that's not bad.
Basically, right? And then I dropped it on my leg. I think it was my right shin, and started like throwing blood everywhere. And I was like, okay, I didn't have insurance. I was like, I'm a business owner, no insurance, nothing. Like, what do I do now? Call my brother, and then he sutured the whole thing.
There you go. That's pretty high speed. So he was a glorified paramedic that day for you and didn't get paid for it. But that's good. It's good to have that. I do remember that. Good times. Okay. So so how far away is he from becoming a American doctor? I'm gonna choke you. Anyway.
So he just got certified about it just happened like 2 months ago.
Oh, okay. So he's working as a doctor now here.
No, because it just happened, and then COVID.
Okay. So yeah, how's that going for you guys in Orlando? How is that?
Florida, have you heard the news?
I mean, every state is whatever. I mean,
literally, that's what Florida is. Whatever.
Yeah, it's just whatever. You guys just doing whatever at this point.
Not gonna lie. I mean, another story. So I was stuck in Spain.
That's right. When that happened, right?
Happened, yeah.
I forgot about that. You guys took a trip to Spain. Damn, that's right. So what was that like? All right, so you're over in Spain. What month was this? February?
So we left the last week of February.
Yeah. So you went over there in February, and then you're over there, and everything kind of hits the fan. The travel ban goes into place. No one's allowed to come back or go anywhere unless you're Americans. Okay. So how'd that go?
So we were there for 19 days. We're trying to come back earlier because we didn't know what was happening. Spain was already shut down. Day 2 after we got there, it was like closing.
Yeah.
So we were basically stuck in our Airbnb, 13 of us.
Oh, shit. Damn.
Yeah. So we're like, okay, let's try to come back. And then as soon as Trump announced the closure, every single flight went up 4 times, 5 times, 6 times. It was like $4,000 to come back for a one way.
That's crazy.
Per person. And I don't get me wrong. I thought about it. I was like, well, let's put it on a credit card and then figure it out when I get back.
Yeah.
But 13 times 4, no, not happening.
Yeah. Damn, that's crazy. So 19 days you're in Spain. What would, so you're seeing that from their perspective. What were you thinking when that was going on?
It was scary. I've been to Spain a couple of times, but this is the first time that I felt like literally out of place.
Yeah.
Everything was shut down. I was with my baby. She was 8 months old, and to buy diapers, it was through a gate. It was like literally like a war. Like you probably know and felt this before.
Yeah. That's crazy. Yeah.
It was like literally through a gate, and I'm like knocking there, and I'm like, hey, I need diapers for my baby and formula. And it was very, very scary. You know, you have to stand in line like 6 feet apart. No cars in the street. Like if you are out, you will go to jail, like 500 euros fine. So it was basically just go out, get diapers, and come back. Go out, go to the supermarket. Or it was only limited hours. So I started living all of this in Spain, and then this whole thing happened in the U.S. You know, Spain was the second country to shut down. It was Italy and then Spain. Actually, China, Italy, and then Spain.
Right.
So it was like, all right, this is scary. And I have 13 of my family members, 3 babies in the crew, and in a small little apartment in Airbnb all the way back in the small town of
so you guys weren't social distancing, is what you're saying?
In our room, in our apartment.
Unbelievable. Yeah.
It was
Yeah, no, I can imagine, because I remember I realized you guys were there because I saw some of your vacation stuff, but then I realized it's like, wait a minute, did he come back from fucking Spain yet? Shit, that guy's still there. And I remember.
You know, it was funny because when he made the announcement, it was 8 p.m. here in the U.S. and it was 2 a.m. over there, and I'm sleeping. You know, obviously.
Yeah, so you wake up to it.
All I hear is my phone vibrating. Whole bunch of you guys texting me, you gotta come back now. And I'm like, what? And I'm like halfway asleep. I'm reading all these like 19 messages from different people. Come back, come back, come back. You gotta come back. And I woke up, Daniela. I'm like, we gotta come back now. And she's like, what? She started freaking out, running everywhere. It was like literally Home Alone, like the movie. Like packing. I woke up everyone. They're packing. It was 2 a.m. over there. And I'm like, all right, take a shower, pack your bags, get the baby ready. Everyone get ready. Everyone's running around in the little apartment while I'm trying to book a flight because we didn't have a flight. I was trying to get, and it started at $400 per person. I'm like, all right, I'm going to book this. Then it went up. As soon as I refreshed, 800, 2,000, 4,000. Because obviously, like airlines didn't know what was happening.
Yeah, they just need to sell the seats.
Yeah. So it was crazy. One of my family members made it because as soon as he announced, she went on the phone. She was awake and she's like, "Boom! I'm leaving in 5 hours." I'm like, "Damn! I gotta do it now!" Like for everyone. So, anyways, that happened and we were stuck there. We actually we had a rental car, and I remember leaving the Airbnb, getting in the car, driving 2 hours to the airport because we were very deep into the country of in Spain. Driving the 2 hours, we didn't even stop. It was like 2 cars into the airport, into the terminal. Here's the key, into the gate. Everyone was going nuts in the airport. Everyone. And as soon as they saw us, they're like, "I'm sorry, but you can't fly." And we're like, "Why?" "Because your flight got canceled." And then I was the rep for my family, and I'm standing in front of the camera, and I'm like, all right, ma'am, there's 13 of us. We drove 2 hours to this airport, and I don't have a place to stay, and everything's shut down. And she looked at my family, and they're like, 13? And I'm like, yeah, we got to get on that plane. And it was going to London, and then London to Orlando. And she's like, airport control, whatever, like, stop the plane. This 13-member family needs to get on that plane. They need
Americans.
Yeah. And she's like, they need to leave the country right now. They need to go and then figure it out at the next stop.
Yeah.
Literally, they stopped. It was running through the airport. Like they were checking, doing all those security measures, all that, the passports. My mom is a resident, like she has a resident card. She's not she was.
Yeah. Gotcha. Oh shit! Wait, so this is about to get interesting.
Yeah. So we get all 12 through the gate, and I'm waiting, and then my mom is the last one, and she has a Colombian passport with the green card. And then they start looking at the rules, like all these politics things.
Yeah.
Big binder about the rules, about the U.S., blah blah blah, and this and London, and then
anything about pandemics in there? Nothing. No.
Okay. Nothing. But they're trying to go and follow the rules.
Yeah.
But then she is like, "I'm sorry, ma'am, you can't fly." And my mom is like, "What? Like, what am I gonna do?" And then my mom is looking at me. Everyone's through the gate. I'm like waiting for my mom. I'm like, And my mom looks at me with this sad face, like, don't leave me here because I don't know what's going to happen. And I'm like, meanwhile, my baby, my wife, and everyone else who made it through the gate. And I'm like looking at my wife through the window, and I'm like, she can't fly. And I'm like, I can't leave. I can't leave my mom here in the middle of this closure pandemic. I don't know what's going on. Long story short is that the ladies didn't care. They were like, fuck it. Just get on the plane and figure it out over there. The worst flight ever. I'm like thinking, I'm like Googling, I'm like, what are the rules in London? Yeah, like for
they may not let you through customs.
Right. And we all had to go through customs. And I get there and I was like, explain the whole thing to the London rep or the officer. And she was super nice. And I was like, look, I'm in this position and I was not supposed to be here. And I don't know what to do. And I don't have a flight to go to the US. Like, there's nothing. I'm here and I don't know what's next. And she's like, all right, per the whatever rule, she read the whole thing, the whatever. This and this and that. She is approved to stay in the country for 48 hours. Boom, stamp the passport. But she cannot go anywhere but your hotel. And I'm like, fine, I don't care. She has to leave the country in 48 hours. And I'm like, fine, I don't care. Like, let me go figure it out. And nothing. It was crazy over there too. We didn't have a flight to come back home. So we had to find a hotel. We had to, we stayed like at the airport for 8 hours looking for a flight. Everything was canceled. Everything was gone. Nothing to Orlando. Everything was closed. Only 13 entry points. And the closest one was Miami. So we made it to the next flight. And it was just 30 people in that big plane. Just the 13 of us and a few other people.
That's not bad though. That's a good way to travel. I was like,
no food, no water.
Okay. All right. Make me feel bad about it. But yeah, I got you. Okay. So
drinking, then but
yeah. I was gonna say, if there's one thing England's gonna still do during the pandemic, it's probably serve alcohol or have it for you at least. No, so you get to Miami. What was that like?
The bag was stolen by another lady.
Classic.
I don't think it was stolen. I think it was just an honest mistake. She grabbed the bag and left. So I'm running through the entire airport looking for my bag. Made a claim. Everyone's going nuts. Everyone's going crazy. It was like the worst time to be at an airport. So we're jet lagged. We've been traveling. It took us 33 hours to get here to Orlando.
From Spain?
From Spain.
Damn.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
And nothing. The lady took it.
And you have an real quick. He had an 8-month-old at the time.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, I was carrying her the whole time here because I wasn't sure what was happening. So the baby knew what was happening, I think.
She was just kind of chill.
She didn't cry. She didn't complain. She saw me running back and forth at Miami airport. And I'm like literally carrying her here on my chest. Not even a single cry. She was like chill, like relax, nothing. Like she knew. I think she was feeling my heart, maybe.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
And she's like, this is not the time to fuck around with him. Like,
that's crazy, man. That's a good story because I think most people would think it'd be the opposite. It was just like, oh man, there's an 8-month-old. Because you know how it is. If you fly with kids that aren't yours, you're like, man, someone shut that baby up, But
yeah. The entire time she didn't complain one single bit, and we couldn't carry any food for her. So it was like whatever we have on the little bottles, and that's it. So we had to make it last the entire time.
Oh man,
that's crazy.
That is nuts.
But yeah, ended up renting a van, 16-passenger van.
Nice. Road trip back to Orlando.
Yeah, and then made it here. As soon as I opened the door, I was like, I shut the door here in my house, and I'm like, wow, like
now what? Right.
And now what? Everything is closing here. Then the whole thing started over again.
Yeah, and you have a business. So how was that? Aside from you and your brother, how many employees do you have that were working for you?
So before the pandemic, we had 5 employees. So it was total 7.
Okay. How many do you have now?
5.
Okay, so you lost 2?
No, the other one's still on and off.
Okay. But I was just say, so how is the whole pandemic? So you get back February, March, whatever it was, and everything's shutting down nationwide at this point, but your business is obviously dependent upon, you're not really like a walk-in type of,
No,
not
well,
like a brick and mortar type thing. Like you kind of have to make your business work essentially, right?
and guess what?
Yeah.
Now through the pandemic, now we have a brick and mortar pretty much.
I know. I saw that. That's pretty crazy. That's crazy. That's true. So
Uh,
that,
so CDC pretty much forced us, the traveler ones, to stay here for 14 days. So I couldn't go anywhere.
right.
Stay here at home. And my brother was kind of panicking too. He started to panic. And I was like, bro, I already been through a pandemic over there. Like I
Yeah.
already
It was a big,
know. So we end up shutting the office, but we asked everyone to take the computers and work from home.
okay.
But we weren't getting, like, we had a big order before the pandemic, and it was for promotional products. So we were basically mass producing large amounts of promotional products. And guess what? They were coming from China.
Well, they were coming from
Uh-huh.
China, but
They
yeah.
were holding a canceled. And after that, it was a big project for us, and everything else got canceled after that. And then we saw a lot of, like, we were booming before this, in
Yeah.
February, and then everything went down. So we decided to keep the crew working, but lower hours. And they work from home, and we created this program to help the community. It was called Elo Cares. So our name is Eloquent, so Elo Cares.
There you go.
And it was basically helping businesses that were shutting down or adjusting or changing the hours or staying open, but with different regulations or rules. It was to help them promote their business through social media images. So let's say
Yeah.
you were selling bourbon, I will come to you and say, hey, for free, I want to create 6 images, whatever message you want to put on them, and it's just for you, so you can continue promoting your business. But I started calling every single customer that I had since day one. We opened back in 2013, so it's been 7 years worth of clients, reaching to every single one of them. And through calling, we got a lot of Elo Cares packages. We helped about 17 businesses for free, like an in-kind effort for our clients. But through the phone calls, we were getting new business.
Yeah.
A lot of people saying, you know what, it's been slow. I want to do my website. You know what, I'm not doing anything. This is the time to get this done.
Yeah.
And slowly, I was like getting like new potential clients, new things going on. And I was like, okay, maybe I don't have to shut down completely. Maybe I can keep them working. So long story short is that we never really closed.
Yeah, we don't do long story short here, bro. So sorry, you're gonna
No.
have to. No, but I think what you highlighted on is, so two things that jump out to me was, um, you still live in Orlando, right?
Yeah.
Okay. What side of town are you on? Are you still south or?
Conway and Michigan. I don't know if that.
Okay, yeah, no, I know. So
They're-
okay, so not technically that close, I would say, but probably like the distance for you to drive to Sanford is like where San Francisco is for me. Like I live in Napa now, right? So San Francisco. So I've been going to San Francisco off and on for 4 years now that I've been out here, and I've seen, like, it's obviously it's a very big city, right? A lot of people always in the city until this stuff happened, and obviously part of Silicon Valley, but big, very tech centered. Facebook, all your social media companies there, they all have offices there. Your video designers, game designers, all that stuff, they've got them there, right?
Yeah.
Well, what's come out of this is kind of what you talked about. Like, it forces you to be creative and figure out ways to do stuff. But what it's also doing is putting people remotely. And I see two things with this, and I don't know if you've thought about it like this or not, but I'll just throw it out at you, is that not just San Francisco and not just you, but I think the country is realizing, because we've shifted to a very service-based economy, like we provide services at this point. We're not producing as much as we used to. Services can be done remotely.
Mm-hmm.
You don't need to be somewhere to physically do a lot of this stuff. And the military, what we say is when we do something, we then think of what are the second and third order effects. So I call Pedro for this interview. Well, what happens next? And then what happens after that, right? That's your second and third order effect. Well, all these companies, these major companies, Facebook, Instagram, Google, all this stuff that have offices and all this stuff and employees that are no longer working there, they're working from home and they realize they don't have to be there. They can still do their stuff from home. That's going to cause your real estate market in the city to collapse.
Yeah.
And then there's people still leaving the city to move and go elsewhere. So I think that's something that while America always does this in response to crisis, we always get creative. It sparks opportunity for ingenuity like you did. You figured out ways to grow your business even during this. A lot of people are doing that, but there's also going to be something that's going to come from it that's going to be negative, and it's going to hurt that aspect of it.
Right.
Which
Right.
may be
Right.
good because San Francisco is not a cheap place. Maybe that brings prices down. I don't know if it does. I don't know enough about real estate or any of that shit to be able to say that. But I do see that because I saw it when I was up in Roseville and Rockland when it was, now I'm 30, 45 minutes from San Francisco. Before I was hour and a half, 2 hours, there's still people that would live there because for 600,000, they can get a home for what costs 2.5 million in San Francisco. You know what I mean? So yeah, I'll drive in order to not have to spend $10,000 a month in a mortgage. But yeah, that's just something that I was wondering if you're seeing that with being where you are in Orlando, like if a lot more people are being able to work from home, but what that's doing to traditional brick and mortar places, which you now have, which is interesting.
That's a different story too.
Yeah.
So most of our clients are in the medical field.
Okay.
We have medical and we have legal. We have a whole bunch of lawyers, and then fitness.
Right.
So if you really think about it, when you put those three into perspective, that is exactly what kept going through the pandemic. Everyone wanted to work out, everyone wanted to go to the doctor, and everyone had a lawsuit, especially here in Florida.
That's true.
So,
you found a good market. That's good then.
Yeah, we were always in that market, but I guess through this pandemic, I think people were needing those services. So our clients were looking like, for example, we did a website for one of our lawyers. He's a PI attorney, and he ended up doing a bankruptcy website because he's expecting a lot of bankruptcies in the next couple of months.
Yeah,
and it's sad. It's sad to think that way, but he's preparing for that. So like me, I'm thinking all of my clients were also molding and adjusting to the new normal, or the new things.
Yeah, I refuse to assume that this is going to be the new normal. I'm not going to, I'm going to do what I have to do. But at the same time, I think this is something we will overcome. We always figure out ways. People are very resilient. It's not just Americans, just people in general. We've been on this planet for a long time. We'll figure out how to survive this. You know what I mean? But no, I think you bring up a good point is that, and I've seen this very differently out here in California, because California and Florida have been very different in the way they've handled things. And I think initially there's a lot of support for it, but now as it's gone on and really hurt the industries here, whether it's, and the fires out here haven't helped. So everything's just kind of been pretty shitty. But no, I see like there's historic landmark clubs and restaurants, for example, in San Francisco that have been forced to close because, they couldn't open for 6-7 months. But you think about all the people that are affected by that, in terms of employees, that's kind of the very fortunate thing. Like me, like I'm very fortunate. I from what I do, I am secure in what I do at this point. My girl, she's a businesswoman, like you're a businessman, and it has to create that revenue still somehow. But those employees who are just part of that service or part of that industry, like that's gone and it's not coming back. But it does open up opportunities for people who think like yourself to come in and create something new. But in the meantime, we're hurting a lot of people by something that I don't think there's a very clear consensus on how to deal with.
Yeah. And it's, my dad coming from Colombia, he was, the guy, and then came here, and then he started at working as a banquet server. And here in Florida, that is a
Mm.
big thing. You get big conventions and you get
Mm.
big groups that come here. And then he decided to
Yeah.
go into this. And since we came here for 22 years, he's been doing the same thing. And they make really good money, like
Right.
over 100K every single year. So, he got used to it and he was working on that. But then what happened? COVID happened and everything shut down. They fired everyone. And Orlando is a hospitality industry is
Oh
like
yeah, absolutely.
the biggest thing here.
Hmm.
But now it's not. So my dad had to reinvent himself at almost 60 years. He's like looking around. He's like, well, yeah, the unemployment and all these things are available, but what is going to happen after? You
Right.
know, the conventions are not going to come back. His role as a banquet server is not going to happen, especially with COVID. People are going to be like, no, I don't want to eat there. So he actually shifted his career and now he's a pest control specialist.
And what is always going to be around in Florida?
Pest control.
Yeah.
Pest.
No, that's
Yeah.
smart. I think that's very smart. Yeah, they saw an opportunity. That's good, man. Because yeah, I had a buddy I used to do music with who did that, and dude makes, he's always gonna have a job. I mean, that's the most important thing. But I think you bring up a good point about the conventions and how these, because Las Vegas, for example, is very similar to Orlando when it comes to conventions. Like the major thing that draws people into Las Vegas for tourism, obviously, is conventions. And we went when Vegas finally opened back up. We went in June, and Vegas was like a ghost town, man. From one side of the strip on, like everything south of like, I want to say everything south of the Bellagio was just completely closed up still.
Wow.
Right. So there's no conventions, nothing. But like inside, we stayed at Caesars and it seemed somewhat normal. Some of the stuff wasn't open, some was. None of the clubs were open. The pools were still very much open. But we went to this restaurant that's right on the strip side, outside of Paris. And inside Paris, like I've never seen a casino that wasn't on.
Cool.
Or,
Yeah.
not full, but even like you go, like even if you have a late
Like
night,
the
you
lights.
stumble in at like 3, 4 in the morning, there's still like music or there's lights and there's people. There was nothing. It was dark because you had to go inside if you wanted to use the bathroom from this restaurant.
Yeah.
Like they didn't have one in the restaurant. You had to go in the hotel or inside the casino. And I was like, dude, that's just creepy, man. Like it really is. But it brings about something that I've always thought about. And I think a lot of people think about it a little bit more in these times, is that it's just how fragile society is, man.
Yeah.
It just takes this. And what was to happen, for example, what if they even said, hey, even if you're an American, you're not coming back and you're stuck in Spain with 13 of your family members? Like, because that's a very real thing. Like,
Well,
there's nothing that says I mean, I get it. You were based on your American status, they allowed you to come back, but they didn't
they didn't have to.
No, you're right. Like if they really wanted to treat it in this worst case scenario, they could say, hey, look, nobody's coming into any country and you're stuck. And then what?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's why I think like,
And I thought about it. I was like, okay, so what's gonna happen? I'm gonna have to go to the field and start picking up the eggplants because my cousin knew of a guy that picks eggplants over there. So I was like, all right, picking eggplants, I think is a new trade for me now.
See, but I think that's what's good about you is that you're always in the mind frame of you're always someone who's trying to make the best of whatever situation they have. I don't think a lot of people do that. I think a lot of people look for someone else to solve their problems.
Mhm.
Whereas you're different. You're someone who is going to try and solve the problem yourself. Because people count on you, people are relying on you, you're a family guy now. Which brings me back to the question I wanted to get back to. So you were 13 years old when your dad made a decision to bring you guys to the States.
Yeah.
Um,
Thank you, by the way. That was really nice what you just said.
Oh, no, it's true though. I mean, people listen to this will probably pick up on that as well. Like the first thing you said is you came up with a solution. It wasn't like, oh, what do I do? Who's going to feel sorry for me? Who do I call on to help me? No, you're like, let me figure out a way to help myself. I think that's the difference between someone like yourself and a lot of people, not just Americans, but a lot of people. They're not built that way. And it's why people go into, I think, the industries that they do. Most people don't become businessmen or open their own business because they're afraid to fail or whatever reason, but that's not how you're constructed or built. You're built to be a solution finder. That's who you are. So that's why I wanted to bring up now that you're a father, do you understand your dad's decision to bring you guys to the States a little better, or is it something that you, yeah?
1,000%. No, I actually never questioned my dad or my mom for making that decision. I knew it needed to happen.
Yeah.
You know, I knew we needed to be somewhere else. Um, Quick story: back in the day or in school, I was bullied in school in Colombia. So I never
Was it
really
because your hair was too good looking? Is that what it was? Which wouldn't make sense because everyone that's Colombian has good looking hair. So I don't know what they're.
I guess I don't know, but I think I
I think
really wanted
everyone
to.
from Colombia is good looking too, but go ahead.
No, I was saying like I wanted to get out of that situation too.
Yeah.
You know, so I think I never really complained. I was like, all right, let's go. You know, let's
Yeah.
pick up and go, and then start fresh somewhere else. I think my brother, the one
Still does.
up
Yeah.
from me, uh, he uh, he was a little concerned about it. He had a little bit more of an issue, you know, because he had a lot more friends and
Yeah, he's older.
he was about to graduate. So he's like,
Mm.
in Colombia, he graduated in 11th grade, and then here is 12th grade.
Yeah.
So he's like, I want to stay here. Let me finish me at my 11th grade, you know, high school, and then I can go and go to university. But we're like, or my parents were like, no, you gotta come. So it was a little rough on him, you know. But in the long run, I think like if you ask him today, he's 100% like grateful for that decision, you know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's crazy. And I bring that up. I only bring it up because you are a father now. So obviously, how old is your daughter?
16 months. Do
So
the
six.
math.
Yeah, so it's a year and 4 months. So okay, so things are probably getting a little easier than they were when she was 8 months and you were running around airports. A
Yeah.
lot more fun. She always looks like a little happy camper. She's always got a big old smile on her face. Good thing she looks exactly like Daniela. So that is great.
Oh my gosh, here we go.
She
Everyone says the same.
does. She does. She's like the small version of Daniela. She just runs around looking
Wish we
like.
could put a picture and then let people decide if that's true.
I mean, you could put all the pictures up that you want. Yep. There.
Oh wait.
Nope. That's your phone. Yeah. So if you guys imagine an adult version of that, and that's his wife. So that's Daniela. Doesn't look anything like Pedro.
No, but
In a
she
good way, not in a
is.
bad way. She has your hair.
Yeah, true.
Look at it.
She bro, you gotta meet her. It's
I
incredible.
know. I'm overdue. I'm overdue.
She resembles all like both of us. Like everything that she does has a purpose,
To
and it's all like after me or Daniela.
yeah.
Like everything.
Yeah, my daughter's the same way. She's gonna turn 15 in December, and like her sarcasm and her like some like crazy humor that she has, it's like every time she says something now, I catch myself like, all right,
Yeah,
that's me.
it's just like yeah,
That's me.
that's me. That's
That's
me.
me. Yeah, it's funny though. That's cool. So
Bro,
how
the
how?
picture you posted with her, you guys are exactly the same.
Yeah,
Like you guys
she's
are
got
very, very,
some of my look, but for the
yeah.
most part, she's definitely the two of us, like you said. Like the way your daughter is of two of you, like yeah, there's
Yeah.
stuff that you see there. The things that frustrate me are definitely her fucking mom. So I'll put that out there. Which will come. Your time will come. So so she's walking, doing all kinds of crazy stuff. She running yet? She doing laps with you?
Walking,
You're on the gym or
running.
what?
She was running. I took her. Don't tell Daniela.
Daniela, don't listen to this. Stop if you are from this point on. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. I took her to the park last weekend. Took her shoes off because it's better to run without shoes. Running, 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 and she's just learning how to run. And then I noticed that she was like going like this to her toes, like trying to like wipe it off. And I'm like, oh, whatever, it's grass. It was just raining, it's grass, whatever. Kept running. I was like, keep running, keep running. She's like, laughing, laughing, laughing. Then after a while, she sits on the ground and she's like, nah. Bro, like a little porcupine thing. I don't know. It was like
Yeah,
full
yeah, I
of
know those things. Yeah. Florida, you don't see those out here.
into like right here, like one of her little toes. And I'm like, take it out. Then one of them broke in there, so I had to go get
Ah, damn.
try to get it out. She's not cooperating. She's crying, and yeah, long story short, her little toes were like swollen when I got home.
Daniela, it wasn't. It was like that when he found her.
Yeah, it wasn't me.
Yeah, there's gonna be more of those, man. Like I think one of the funniest stories I had was I was still living in Florida, and I think Jazara was probably like 6 or 7, and she got stung by a wasp, and the stinger was stuck inside her hand, and it was
Yeah,
just like waterworks, man, the whole time. And I'm just trying to get it out as quick as possible because I'm a baby, like at heart. Like when I see her upset, I get upset. So I was trying to be like, "Oh, you're fine," and then inside, I'm like, "Man,
crying.
poor thing, she's gonna die." It's something, whatever, knowing
Yeah,
that she's not gonna die. But yeah, she's been healthy though.
yeah.
Yeah, that's good. Because that was the other thing. I don't even know if I told you this or not, but no, Jazara was like, she was pretty sick. Like her first 2 years, she was always kind of getting sick. And I remember we were like 6 months. She was 6 months old, and I had to take her to the emergency room one night, and she had to get a spinal tap. And
Oh
that, like, bro, I lost it. Like, because like
no.
the little kid, she's 6 months, they're like that big, and she's
Oh,
on her stomach getting the spinal tap. She doesn't know what's going on, and I'm just, yeah. So it's crazy, man. Kids, like, all of a sudden everything shifts from whatever
well,
you.
I have a funny story.
Uh-oh, are you
Knew that.
expecting another?
No, no, no,
Oh, okay.
no, no.
No,
I
not
hope
ready.
not. Not ready. No, I think she was 6 months, and I was taking care of her. Daniela was working at the time before all this whole COVID thing, and she woke up like very like congested,
Hmm.
like we were like like coughing and whatever. But I was taking her. We enrolled her in daycare, because Daniela was working and I'm working too. So um, we didn't know, like, when you take a baby to daycare, the first thing that happens is they get sick.
Yep.
Being, I didn't know that. Well, she wakes up. I usually take care of the morning routine because Daniela was working really early, getting her ready, and then I see a lot of mucus and I see a lot of coughing. I rush to the ER. ER, not regular doctor. ER, the emergency room.
Yeah.
$1,500 later, that
Damn.
that it's nothing. It's just a little cold, literally.
Don't go to the
And then
emergency
I learned my
room.
lesson. I
Yeah.
learned.
Exactly. So what I learned out here, just based on what I do, is like people with money and insurance, they go to the hospital for everything, and the people who don't, they never go, and they're fine. They don't have any medical history to worry about. So it's funny in a way because I've learned the different socioeconomic areas that I worked from, like the affluent to the not so well
Yeah.
off. But no, I think that's funny because a lot of people do the same thing. They'll go to the ER, or what they do here is they go to the ER, but they just never pay it. You're too
Oh.
honest for that, so I know. But yeah, so no, that's
It was funny
interesting.
because at the end, the doctor, literally, the diagnosis was like, it's just a cold. And then he literally sat, they sent two doctors, because I'm in the ER,
Yeah,
and with the little thing here and it's
yeah.
tiny. And then they send the first doctor and they're like, yeah, we hear a little bit of blah, 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 like all like proper or whatever. They send the second doctor and he's like, all right, bro, sits in front of me. He's like, all right, first kid, right? And I'm like, yeah. Um, she has nothing. My diagnosis is like nothing. Go home and just give her elderberry or whatever that is, natural.
Elderberry,
And that's it. So
what?
why? And then he questioned me. He's like, and why are you here for real? And I'm like, and he's like, for real, like what's happening? And I'm like, nothing. I'm concerned. I'm sorry, but there's nothing. There's
Why didn't
nothing.
you call your brother, bro?
I did actually. I did, but no response.
No response.
Didn't answer my first ring. So I'm like, fuck it, to the
Yeah,
ER.
you should charge your brother $1,500 then,
Yeah,
since he cost you
good
that.
idea. I'm gonna take a clip of this video and send it to him.
Hey, whatever. Just remember, I need 10%.
Yeah,
Okay, I need
don't
150.
worry.
I need
I'm okay with
150.
like a portion of it.
Yeah, I need finder's fee. I'm like
Yeah.
the collection agency. That's good, man. So what are what's what? So we've covered all the challenges through COVID. How's that been for you guys at the gym? Because I
I
know
am
how
the
it is out
same.
here, so we're still not
I
back
am
to
the
normal
same
yet.
way as you, since
Yeah.
I went through the whole quarantine here in my house, and I was like, all right, I'm ready. I was going back to my office. I was like, I need to get out and try to make a normal
Yeah.
life again. Obviously, I have my hand sanitizer in my car. I have my mask, and I follow rules and directions when I'm out in the supermarket. Wash my hands more than often. But I was the first one at the gym.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I actually help out Trev because they actually took the time while they were closed to make a few adjustments and remodel kind of thing,
Yeah.
on the gym. So I was helping around, and I was always like staying active because I really needed that. I couldn't stay
Yeah.
here. I was coming from 19 days in Spain and then 17 here. I was like, I can't.
Yeah.
I gotta get out.
Yeah.
So I was helping Trev out a little bit, and then as soon as they opened the gym, I was like the first one there.
I think that's what people don't realize is because you mentioned it, um, it drove like people crazy. Like, oh, well, can't go to gym, so everyone's got to order equipment and stuff. And their
Yeah,
stuff's still back ordered for the most part. Like, it's still hard to
yeah,
find some things. But I think what I've noticed is health and fitness, as you know, through the CrossFit thing, that's really taken off. Probably took off more so late 2000s, early 2010s because of the CrossFit Games, like what kind of drove the expansion of CrossFit. But like the health and welfare, health and wellness, whatever it is, it really probably started to take off from like the 80s, 90s. The 80s bodybuilding was very popular, jogging, running, those things were. And then, fitness programs throughout the 90s, and then obviously CrossFit and whatever. There's something for everybody at this point. So America, I think, has gotten much more healthy, and the world has at this point because the CrossFit's been introduced to the world. The world's very active anyway.
yeah,
Before CrossFit, this from Colombia,
yeah.
bunch of fucking soccer players. Um, but no, what I think it does is it's really tapped into people's core of just what humans are, man. We're not built to just sit around and do nothing.
Yeah.
Our earliest DNA programming is to get out, and we're fucking hunters and gatherers is what we go do. We go find food, we bring it back, and we expend some energy in killing things so we can eat them.
Yeah.
That's what, like,
Yeah.
humans are. We weren't built to just sit around the house for 19 days and not do anything. Like,
Hmm.
everyone's figured that out. Even people who are not in shape, people, they want to, or they try, you know what I mean? They're trying to do something. Um, I don't know if you may have seen some of my stupid little fucking workout videos I was doing in my
Yeah.
apartment. I was just, because I refused. There was no part of me that was gonna not work out or do something still. I even started running again, bro. I don't run, you know
Oh yeah. Oh,
that. Yeah, I haven't given it up yet. So I run a lot more. I finally got my rack into my garage so I can, lift again. And our gym's open back up. It's very limited with how many people and the stuff you can do. We make the best of it, but man, like, I think about that because out here it's not like South Orlando. Like, there's no time you could go into South Orlando CrossFit and not just die from sweating because it's so hot.
yeah.
But I think about that because that's like one of the big precautions out here is like monitor
Don't
the
sweat up.
sweat and all. Yeah, monitor all that. I'm like, how are they doing that in Orlando of all places?
Well, here's the thing. At the beginning, it was like 50% or 25% capacity, I think it was.
Yeah,
Um, but I feel like the governor now gave up on the whole like percentages,
yeah,
and
it's
he's like, "Fuck it, let's open everything up. Everything is open over here." Some people are requiring masks, like if you go to the restaurants and things like that. But restaurants are full capacity. You just wear your mask while you're walking, which makes no sense. Like as soon
yeah.
as
And
you
then you
walk
sit
to the
down and
table,
you,
take
yeah,
it
it's
off.
like,
Go to the bathroom, put it on, but you're still like with your mask out. The gyms are full capacity now, but a whole lot of gyms closed too.
I would imagine, yeah, because I was gonna say, you can do the math on a gym. You know what you pay a month. You know how many members you have.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I was wondering how that was working. I was wondering how Trev and everybody was doing with everything like that.
No,
But
and they set up a system to clean up the bars every time, and people
yeah,
are already like used to it now. Like there's hand sanitizer stations, and they wipe off the barbells. They actually just got brand new barbells,
okay,
um, so they're all like
yeah,
nice and
because in
crisp.
South,
And
like, well, Orlando's humidity is rough on barbells, man.
yeah,
Like you come out to California, you won't see every bar, 5 years, 6 years old, they still look brand new. You go to Orlando, it's the
Oh,
humidity, just they look like, bro, I got this bar last month and it
what's the
looks like
metal?
it looks like it's rusted, it's 20 years old. The
Yeah.
conditions. You remember what we went to in the one for Sean's wedding down in St.
Oh
Thomas?
yeah, yeah, St. Thomas. Yeah,
Yeah, but that gym was like 6 years old and everything looked like it was straight out
yeah,
of the fucking 40s, man, because of the
yeah,
salt in the air as well and the humidity. Yeah, it's rough on metal. But
yeah.
no, I'm glad you guys are figuring out. I think that's one of the best things though, is like this mandatory sanitizing and just cleaning stuff. It
Hmm.
sucks for the bars, like the bar, because they're
Yeah.
slippery all the time.
Well, I actually like the rusted bar. I never go into the brand new ones or the soft ones because that's dangerous.
Yeah, it is. It really is.
You
And
can
then, so
fall
for a
easily.
while we couldn't have chalk.
Oh yeah, that's
Yeah.
right. Yeah.
So now we can't have chalk out. You can bring your own, but you can't, like, there's no chalk buckets or anything. You have to have your own chalk, which I already had plenty of, but still, like, we can't do that. Um, but no, like the weird thing that I've seen, I don't know about you, because a lot of distilleries out here started making hand sanitizer for businesses and
Oh
stuff
wow.
and sending it, right. So today, man, I noticed this today. Like I went in, like where I go, you have to hit the sanitizer before you come in. Like, you got to come in with a mask, hand sanitizer, then you can take your mask, blah, blah, and go out the same way. But like today, when I did it, it was the hand sanitizer smelled like straight tequila, bro. Like I was ready to throw up before the workout.
Yeah.
It was bad. It's so strong. I'm like, Justin, like the coach, I'm like, is it me? He's like, no, it smells like tequila. I'm like, you guys got to stop doing this. Like it's the
Actually,
distilleries, man.
yeah. I I had the same happen to me with vodka flavor.
Mm. We
It
got one
was
of
bad.
those. Like in my office, I have one that smells like straight vodka.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
which is gross because I hate vodka. Anything clear, I hate.
This is
Drink
the
more
best
bourbon.
sanitizer.
Well, aguardiente is it's doable in single shot serving. I can do one. Yeah, go ahead. It's
Do
time.
you have one of these? You remember?
Uh, somewhere that was from the wedding. Yeah, I have it
Yeah.
somewhere. I have it somewhere. I'm gonna need you to do one. You need to
I
catch
haven't
up.
seen the wedding, so this is for you.
That is true. I appreciate this. I want everyone to take notice. He's not drinking bourbon, but he is participating in the fueling of the show via, what are you drinking again?
Oh, aguardiente,
And it is from
Colombia.
no sugar, sugar free. It's very healthy for you. All right, you do that. I'll do this.
On a Monday. Wow.
Hey, every day's the same. You wouldn't know what day it was if we didn't invent the calendar, bro. So don't worry about it.
Sure.
Plus, the Mayans did that shit anyway, and their calendar's all dicked up. They're dead anyway. It doesn't matter. I don't
Yeah,
know.
but now I want to go party.
That's nothing wrong. Get on a plane, fly over to California. It'd be
Yeah.
perfect. Yeah, that was weird. I don't know. Have you flown since you came
Yeah.
back? Where'd you
Yeah,
go?
we went to New York.
Oh, that's right. You
About
did go to New York. Okay. How was that? Because that's probably one place in the States I would not go, man. Like New York scares me at this point.
it was we went to New Jersey. We stayed in New Jersey, but it was so cool.
Was it?
It was really cool. Yeah,
Have you
because
guys been there before or no?
yeah, we've been here
Okay.
a couple of times, but we took the baby.
Yeah, I saw you
Um,
walking around in Times Square. That's cute.
yeah, and it was it wasn't busy. It was like a little traffic, maybe like a few people out there.
That's what's
Nothing
weird.
crazy, but the lights were on, so it's
Yeah.
like this is perfect.
See, that was weird because I took my daughter when I came back from my last deployment in 2015. We went to New York City for Christmas Eve for 4 days, and I took my daughter out to Times Square to see the lights and everything. And dude, I almost lost her, and that's with me holding her hand because there's just
Yeah,
so many people.
many
Like
people. Yeah.
I would never do it again. Like once done, I have no desire to do. Like I love the city, but I'm never going to Times Square. Not during Christmas.
Even
No.
the trains felt like they were so clean and sanitized that it was like, all right, this is nice. But
That's how the
before, it
airport
was like
was when we
dirty.
flew out of
You
San
go,
Francisco. Yeah, it was
yeah,
nice. I was like, man, there's like 10 people in here. This is great. I wish it was always like this, but
yeah.
probably
No,
the
it was.
airlines.
The only thing is that they're not as open as we are here. So
Yeah.
if we go to a restaurant, you have to eat outside or find a restaurant that has like outdoor seating.
Yeah.
And we got kicked out of our Starbucks.
Because you didn't have your mask on.
No, we had our mask on, but we were I was buying the coffee, and Daniela was like fixing the baby's like stuff, the bag. And then I brought her 2 coffees, took the little cap off or whatever, and drinking while she's fixing. And he's like, "You gotta get out, you gotta get out." And Daniela, typical Daniela, like, what? Blah, blah, blah. I'm just fixing. Give me a second. Blah blah blah.
Jesus. So I
But
was
yeah,
curious about that though, because so like out here, once the rain stops in the spring, like it won't rain here for 6 months. Like it hasn't rained here. I think it rained once in June, just randomly, but it hasn't really rained since like March, April, whatever. But we can get away with doing all that outdoor seating and stuff because it never rains. But I'll say like Orlando, it rains every day. At some point, like I was curious how that was working, but you say they're completely open. So
yeah,
go eat inside.
anywhere. Yeah, you can go anywhere.
Have you guys caught anything?
Like COVID? No.
Yeah, no. So I'm curious because so I definitely had it. I lost my sense of smell and taste for about a week, and that was it. I didn't have anything else. I just remember I was out grilling because I grill every night and I drink bourbon every night, and I was like, the sweet, delicious bourbon. And then like one night I couldn't taste anything, and I tie it back to either two places. It was either when I went to San Francisco to the Giants like season ticket event. It was in February, and we're out there, on the field, thousands of people, and then.
Oh, so it happened before this whole thing happened?
Wow, I don't know. Well, that's when they theorized everything was coming in from China, because San Francisco is the main hub from China. Everybody comes here from the Pacific, right? And I'm in the Bay Area, so whether it was in San Francisco or not, I'm around people who come in and out. Silicon Valley, it's a huge mecca of there's international travel all the time, kind of like Orlando, same thing.
Yeah.
So, and then I was also I did a road trip with Maddie. We went up to Oregon in February, and I remember getting up there and. Like the first night, I just out of nowhere, dude, it was like 8:00 at night, and I felt like I needed to sleep for like a day. Like I had no energy. I just wasn't, and it came out of nowhere. I don't know why. All I did was drive, right? So it was either then or it was at that event, and then that happened to me like probably early March, and then I was fine. And then Maddie, she got it, and she's actually took the test, the antibody test, and she definitely had it. She was bad.
Have you taken the antibiotic?
No, I mean, I just assume I had it. I don't need to spend money on it. It's just, I assume I had it. So she got it, and she was bad because she's asthmatic. She had a history of pneumonia and all. So she was really bad for like 2 weeks. Like I didn't go around her or anything because she was just wasn't good. And then my parents got it in June, like May. My parents got it, both of them. And my dad's just not he's just had a ton of health issues. He's 71 now, and he's just, by the grace of God and how stubborn and just strong-willed he is, he's still alive. But when he caught it, like I was expecting the worst, because I was just like, well,
yeah,
I don't know, you know what I mean? But they're fine. Like they overcame it. They're the only thing they really had was like a fever, and they were tired. But my dad's sense of taste has kind of been dicked up for a while. But yeah, so who knows?
I heard that it stays for a little while, like the loss of taste or smell.
Hers still hasn't. Maddie's hasn't came back yet. They're still like this. We're going on. She had it in March, dude. It's fucking October, and like
you can fart anywhere.
Yeah, coffee smells horrible to her. Like she can't taste certain things. But what sucks is she's in the wine industry, man. Like that's like it's a big thing for her. She needs to be able to taste stuff. So yeah, but that's kind of like I feel like, but it's also weird because my brother lives in Southern California, and his family, like they haven't had any of it. I just feel like pretty much everyone up here where I'm at, I've
around me, like one of my employees had it, and all of his family members at home, but he was with us, let's say that Wednesday, then he went on a trip to Miami Thursday, and then on Friday he was positive, but he was with us 48 hours before that. So we all went and got tested. A couple of friends, let's not say any names here, but that I was very close with around them, and I was like,
figure this out.
And then it's like, no, I don't have it, or I haven't gotten any symptoms, so I don't know if I'm asymptomatic, maybe a headache, or I don't know. I almost want to do the test just to see if I did or not.
Yeah, I mean, if they're gonna give it to you for free now, because like when I was trying to figure out when I had it, we were still in that stage where like, oh, you have to exhibit this And none of the, like the loss of sense and the smell and taste wasn't a symptom that they would test for at the time. Now you can go get it for free or whatever. So I would say if you can get it for free, then yeah, go do it. But like at the time, my mom was telling me to go get it. And I was like, no, I'm not spending $180 just to know what I already know. Like, you know how many bottles of bourbon I can get for $180? That's where my priority lies. So no, I just never did it, man. But
2 weekends ago, I was hanging out with my Colombian friends, and we were drinking aguardiente.
of course you
And after a while, you just share the little cups, and you're like, ha ha ha, and laughing and doing all of this, being all not protective. Well, next morning, she was sick. The following day, got tested positive, and I'm like, we're literally all around her, like,
and you didn't
all
get
of
it
us,
done
and
either?
just her, and we were like 7 of us around that table.
Daniela's been okay?
Yeah.
Nobody in the family?
Mm-mm.
That's great.
Knock on wood. No, let's
No, I
knock
know.
on wood.
Like I got a wood. No, but I think that's the problem, man. Is I don't know. I don't really know what to think at this point. I really don't. I
I don't
just
know. I was talking to my brother about it because I had so many like instances and people around me with it, but my family, the close knit, it's 13 of us, and none of us, thank baby Jesus, having had any symptoms.
Yeah, especially you were in Spain, like you were at like kind of the European almost ground zero for that thing, and then you had to travel, then you went to the airport, and you went to another country. Like you were, there's a
like
chance that you could have been exposed. Yeah, like you could have for sure.
Yeah.
And then especially like the little kid, the little one. I feel like she'd have been all right anyway, but yeah, I think that's kind of what we're figuring out, man. Is just I don't know, like because. I don't know. I don't know if there's just different versions of it or not. Because college football, right? Nick Saban. Do you know who Nick Saban is? So,
Alabama.
Yeah, the Alabama coach. He tested positive like last Wednesday, and then like, oh, he had 3 negative tests in a row, and he gets to coach Saturday. So I'm like, wait a minute, what happened to like 14 days automatic? Like, you know what I mean? It's just, I don't know. Is it something or is it not? Is it that serious, or are we just making this?
What is it? Is the same with Trump? He was like positive, and then he was doing here in Florida, in Sanford, here down the road.
Yeah.
His what do you call the campaign? The rally.
Yeah.
Like nothing.
That's what I'm saying. Like I don't know if we've just purposely done this because it's an election year. Like I don't know. That would be that's my first guess. Like if this happened last year and like or even like 2018, would we have done what we did as a country? I don't know. But elections next like 2 weeks, bro. Did you vote yet? Are you voting on the election day?
No, I have my early voting thing.
Yeah. I sent my little absentee ballot in. I still technically vote in Florida, so.
Oh, you do?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, my home of record is Florida, so I still vote for that. Like if I was out here, my vote doesn't matter out here. It's always going to be one thing. So at least in Florida, it's still there's like 4 states where it still counts. Florida's one of them, so it's exciting, bro. You got to make sure you participate. That's good. Okay, well, make sure you fill it out.
What? Yeah, no, I'm gonna send it. What address are you using? Tia's address?
No, I use my original home of record where I grew up in Kissimmee. Pine Ridge Circle.
What?
Yeah, go to Pine Ridge. Pine Ridge used to be a nice area, and it's just.
Wait, you were born in Kissimmee?
No, I was born in New Jersey. We moved to Florida when I was 5, so I grew up in Kissimmee, just south of Point Siena. I went to Point Siena High School. So.
Wow, I was talking shit about Kissimmee earlier.
It's worth talking shit about. It used to be very nice. It's not very nice anymore. That's why I say when you said like this apartment complex, Kissimmee, I'm like, I probably know it well. So yeah. No, I remember we moved to Michigan.
Yeah.
I know Michigan. I very close to that. So when we first moved to Florida, I grew up in the Dorado Apartments, which is near Highland. That area? Highland. Yeah.
Donegan.
Yeah, in that area. So yeah, I know Kissimmee, man. I grew up in Kissimmee when it was very nice, and I watched it turn into what it is now. So
I'm sorry.
Hey, no, it started right around the time I was graduating. It started 99, but then no, unfortunately, like when the economic crisis hit in 2008, as you know, it affected all of Florida, but Kissimmee for sure. Like, because my parents still had a home there, and they had and my dad had just retired, and they couldn't sell that house for like 5 years. But overnight, that house went from like 280,000 to 70, and they built it in the 80s for 85. So you think about, like, that's what I'm saying. Like, you totally remove the housing values, but when you think about, when you remove housing values, what happens? Low income moves in. Unfortunately, criminal element tends to follow that, and you get what Poinciana and most of Kissimmee has become. Even St. Cloud, to an extent, is getting that way. But
Yeah.
no, and that's the problem, is like most areas can, I hate to say gentrify and gentrification, because that's what takes place usually, like Seattle, Brooklyn, where things drop in value and people from the outside come in and turn them into nicer areas, and it moves out that element. But there's nothing around Kissimmee or Poinciana to support that. Like, there's no business jobs or anything. The only thing there really is Disney, and that's not enough to,
For that,
yeah, it's not enough to support it, and it's too far away. So, it probably is what it is. I don't think it'll ever get back to what it was.
bro. Disney fired a ton of people like in the last like 2 or 3 weeks, like a lot, and that's gonna affect us a lot in the next
I
couple.
agree, but that's why I said, like, would we have done this if it wasn't an election year? And we didn't, and like, well, I wouldn't say we, but if people didn't like the president as much as they dislike him, would they have done this? That's why I say, like, it's very suspect, and you have to wonder. Because I do have a theory. Like, if Biden wins, I feel like everything's gonna just magically open up. Everything will be fine, and just in time for the Thanksgiving holiday travel season, you'll be able to come and go. You going to Colombia anytime soon, bro? I missed your bachelor party. I was very upset.
Another story. My trip got canceled.
I know, I missed it. And I wanted to go to that one. If there was ever a bachelor party I wanted to go to, it was to Colombia. I didn't get to go.
Fun.
I bet. Yeah. Do you want to tell me about it? I'm just kidding.
There are gonna be more times. No, we had a trip planned for the end of, when was it? The end of November. We're going for Thanksgiving
this year.
2 weeks. Yeah, this year.
Can you go?
And we just got an email last Friday that our trip got canceled because Colombia, it's also not starting, but they've been going through like really rough times with this COVID thing.
Yeah.
But they freak out a lot. So the entire countries are about to shut down again.
Are you guys dual citizens?
We are.
So can you still go technically, or no?
I can go in, but they're not accepting. Like, they have a lot of rules. Like, apparently you have to get a test, a negative test, 72 hours before you get there. Once you get there, you get 14 days of quarantine, and you have to stay in your room.
That's stupid.
For 14 days, and apparently they physically send an officer to your room.
That's how like Hawaii was doing it for a while. It's like,
oh, for real?
Yeah, Hawaii was. I think they're finally starting to open up because their economy is just completely collapsed because it's all tourism based. But when this whole thing started, yeah, like if you flew to Hawaii, you had to quarantine like that for 14 days. Who's gonna do that? Who's got time and money to just sit in a hotel for 14 days? Like, that's what, $5,000 just to sit in a hotel? No, I don't know.
Yeah, man. I mean, and they go because we were gonna stay with Daniela's family. So
yeah,
but
you can't even do that, right?
The airlines actually canceled the flights for us. We didn't even call. They sent us an email saying that we can't fly because they're about to shut down again.
See, I think America's economy, as much as I already highlighted some of the service-based stuff that we've shifted to and rely upon, can ultimately sustain this long term. But some of these other countries, Colombia, Spain, whatever, some of those countries in the European Union, I grant they got European Union protection, but South America doesn't have anything like that to kind of rely on each other, right? Like, they're all independent nations who just, yeah. Well, what does Colombia rely upon most? Probably it's probably tourism, right?
No, lately it's been tourism, but since the whole thing with
that's what I'm saying. Like, what are they doing? That's what's kind of?
Right now or before, it was coffee. A lot of
Mhm.
agriculture. They export a lot of that. Um, Leather, coffee,
Mhm.
gold when it was good. So yeah, they had a lot of like different trades and things that they can export, But lately, Colombia has become
Aguardiente.
like a destination. Yeah, aguardiente. Every single ABC, the liquor stores around my area, they
You know
carry it
what?
now. Is because of me.
I believe it. And just for you, I'm gonna go look at one of my stores and see if I can find it there. And if not, I'm gonna be like, look, I need to buy a bottle. I need to support my Colombian people.
Yeah.
To support that.
You have it behind, one of those bottles should be one of those.
It should. You know what? You're right. As I break the microphone here. No, you're right. I should do that. No, I will. I will get one. That's a good idea. See the bar back there. That's part one. Part two is up there. I don't have enough space like I had in the old place to display everything, but that's the good stuff for the most part. I will get a bottle of the finest aguardiente. Is that the only brand? Is there any other brand?
It's the one that I like because it's
Okay.
no sugar, so it's healthy.
Yeah, it's true. Now, I recognize that label. I see that one all the time. So okay, I will effort that search for that and try and find it. I'll just go on ABC and try and order it. That's what I'll do. There's no ABCs out here though. So
No,
we got Total Wine.
no, I don't have it.
They don't? All right, I'll just go to ABC and I'll see if they'll ship it out here. Because California, it's a bunch of fucking communists out here. They don't let you do anything. But it is beautiful. That's the trade-off.
Yeah.
Communism, beautiful scenery.
So I heard the Bay Area is struggling with the pollution or the air.
Well, it was the fires at first that was really screwing stuff up. So what's funny about the pollution you mentioned, so a lot of it originally is from the cars, right? There's a lot of traffic. When the pandemic started, nobody was driving into the city. So like there was this big like, oh my God, look, the air has gotten clear all of a sudden. But no, yeah, so when the fires started, we've had two really bad ones here in the Napa region the last 2 months, basically last month and a half, and that's really dicked the air up. I'll show you a picture. I'll show it to the audience too. But that's really made the air quality pretty bad. We're fine now. Everything's kind of blown out. It was really bad in the bay because everything kind of settled down there. Usually the bay is very windy and it can kind of move stuff in and out. Here we sit in the Napa Valley, so everything just kind of plops down on top of us. Like, you're from Colombia. You know how the mountains in the valley is, right? That's Napa. How come you guys don't grow wine there? Do you guys grow wine?
Yeah, but it's not like
It's not
it's
very
not
good.
a. It is good, but it's not like
Yeah, I was
we're
thinking
not
about that.
wine drinkers. We're not
No,
wine.
yeah, I was thinking of that. I'm like, wait a minute, you guys, you got fucking beautiful mountains and valleys and stuff there. Grow some wine.
Yeah,
It's all
I feel
good.
like there's only one company that produces really nice wine in Colombia, but I don't think it's a big thing.
Okay, so can you see this?
All right.
So
So
that
the
was,
top.
well, yeah. So I don't know how good that looked through the camera, but that was 9 a.m. And if you look at the actual picture, I'll just text you this picture. If you look at the
Yeah.
picture itself, it literally looks like it's nighttime. But this was 9 a.m. in the morning. That's how bad it was. And it was like that for about a week and a half. And then it gradually got better, but the air was pretty bad for like 2 weeks. It cleared up. And then all of a sudden, randomly, which had to be a human, like 3 o'clock in the morning, another fire started and it started this whole thing all over again. So that's the issue with the wildfires, man, is there's not a lot you can do up in these hills and these valleys once they start. So it was pretty bad.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that was the morning. It was 9 a.m.
What does it smell? Does it feel or
Oh, dude, I'd go out on my balcony or get into my truck and it's just covered in ash. It's like that. It's just ash is just like raining from the
I see it on
clouds.
the trail. Yeah, on the handrail.
Yeah. So it's bad. And it smells like a campfire, but there's no fun. You go to a campfire, usually you're having fun, you're drinking, you're making s'mores. There's
Yeah.
none of that. There was none of it. It's just ash, man. But yeah, you're right. You can
Wow.
see it on the handrail. It was pretty bad. But we're fine now. Things are cleared up. Hopefully the rain will come soon and we can the rain and the snow up in Tahoe and all that stuff will put a nice little snow cap and get ready for the spring. And hopefully it doesn't happen next year, because it seems to be very, not necessarily annually, but it seems to be every few years is when they're really bad. Like the last really bad one was 2017 out here in Napa. We had a bad one in 2018 up where I was at originally. And that was the campfire. It was literally called the campfire. I was up in Paradise. That was really bad. There's always, well, you remember when we went to Southern California, remember for the CrossFit Games, we were coming back that one night and the whole hills were on fire.
Yeah.
It's just normal for California at this point, man. I hate to say it, like, because it shouldn't be. But you talk about new normals. I think what people have realized is like the new normals, until they do something with the forest and like the forestation process of actually clearing out.
Is it poor management?
Well, it is poor management, but what gets lost in the nuance of it is a lot of the land in California is federal land. So it's not on the state of California. PG&E, our electric company out here, it's not up to them to maintain it. It's kind of up to the federal government to maintain. But the federal government runs into issues because the state government won't allow them to do stuff. So it's a perfect example of like government being government. Like no one can come to a decision, so they don't do anything, and it just kind of festers. But yeah, it's a little bit more of the management side. Because, a wildfire in Florida, those happen. I've been in, going down to the Everglades or going down to Miami. You'll see like some of that cypress groves or stuff that have burnt, but it goes out instantly because it's going to have a fucking thunderstorm, like, that same day. Like you don't get really a chance. Like a fire starts, it's gone because of the rain. But yeah, like I said, it doesn't rain for 6 months out here, man. So
you guys need a little rain, little Florida rain. It rains here every time at 3:00, every day.
This is true, but also the fact that it doesn't rain allows the soil to be what it is, and the best in the world, to grow the wine. So that's why Napa Valley wine is the bomb.com, apparently. How corny was that? Who says that? Who says the bomb.com? I just said it though. So you're right. All right, Bean. Well, thank you for coming on with me. I know it's late out there in the city beautiful, Orlando. City beautiful. Yeah. Be sure to tell Daniela I said hello. And remember, if you want to get something like this or all the silly little bad at CrossFit, all this, any type of shirts, anything you can come up with, Pedro and his company Eloquent can make that happen for you. So please look for him on Instagram at either Eloquent Inc. Eloquent Inc. INC, right? Or INK?
INC.
You never know. You might get really crazy with it. So Eloquent Inc. or Turo_P on Instagram. You can find a way to get a hold of him to get all your little products made. Go to abc.com, the liquor store, and look for Aguardiente. I'm going to do that after this. But if you don't want to do that, again, drink more bourbon. There always will be bourbon. There always will be conversation. And Pedro, thanks again for coming on, brother. Talk to you soon, man.
Thank you so much, brother. Love you.
Love you more. Goodbye.